Hey y'all, I want to do this video real quick to address income funds and how I would use them in retirement. I'll preface this to say that I'm retired. I'm part-time retired, okay? Me and my wife are both part-time retired at the moment. The beautiful thing about it is our part-time income covers all our expenses. So investing in options and all that is just, icing on the cake, if you will. But people have asked, are you going to use income funds in retirement? And for the most part, in my opinion, the answer would be no. Now, I do own a couple of income funds, and those are I kind of got. Let's look real quick. Let's look at holdings. TLTW has been a long-term holding for me. It is on the chopping block, although I do believe that it's a great buy at this point. Let's see what else. CLM, that was a trade. I'm up 20% on it. QQQM, that's a growth. SCHD, dividend growth. I don't mind owning more of that. UTF is a closed-end fund that is infrastructure and utilities, pays about 8%. RQI is a real estate closed-end fund, pays about 8%. I like these two if you are actively managing a portfolio. Pfizer is a spec play. That's on the chopping block. Okay, so TLTW, CLM, PFEs on the chopping block. SPIT, I actually got into this via options. That's on the chopping block. Dutch Bros, love Dutch Bros. That's a long-term hold probably. SOXL, that's a trade. I got assigned a couple hundred shares. Selling covered calls on it, but it can go. XBill is a short-term bond fund. That's on the chopping block too. This is my 401k and Bitcoin. So pretty much, this is what we do currently, right? Get about $400 average a month. We get about $400 average a month in interest payments. And then we do options, right? But someone asks, would you use income funds in retirement? And the answer would be no. Why is that? Because I would rather be in cash. Okay. So right here, we look at the monthly option income. We did $2,432 in January. And if we look at that, $2,432 divided by, I usually use about $60,000 to $80,000 in collateral to secure my cash secured puts. So let's meet that in the middle. We'll divide that by $70,000, and that equals 0.034 to figure that. This is how to figure out your percentage, right? So that's a 3.47% monthly return. Times that by 12, 41% annualized yield on options, all while keeping a large amount of cash and not being exposed to the market. So low volatility, and having a lot of cash on hand, right? So I have zero need to increase my dividend income, right? Because if you're looking at that, 2,400 plus the 800 in dividends and interest, you're looking at $3,200 just in air quotes, passive income. There's really zero need for me to dive into income funds. But I would just wanted to use this to look at some income funds and kind of explain what I look for if I were to use income funds. And we're just going to use Yahoo Finance. Someone mentioned XDTE, and I want to look at these just real quick, just quick overview. So this is the Roundhill ETF Trust based on the S&P 500 zero DTE covered call strategy. Over 1 year, down 3.7%. Okay, doesn't even show a yield. I don't even care what the yield is. Expense ratio, almost 1%. Okay, so how is that done? Let's go 5 years. Oh, wait, it's not been around that long. It started in March of 2024, and it's down 3.7% during that time. In 1 year, the S&P 500 is up 22%. Okay, so if the underlying has been in a perpetual bull market, and this has lost you 3.7%. Yes, you're going to say, well, if you reinvest the dividends, but then what's the point of an income fund, right? I guess the argument could be, maybe the argument could be, if you put enough money into it and you live off, I don't know, I'm gonna throw a number out there. You take half of the distribution and use that for income, and then the other half you reinvest it into the underlying to try to keep up with the deterioration of your money. And that's the only way I can see that being beneficial. The other part is this has only been around a year, not even a year. No idea how if this is underperforming in a bull market, how's it going to do in a bear market? And that is the $1 million question. For me, I have zero desire. I don't care if they pay daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly. It doesn't matter how often they pay. If they cannot keep their net asset value, they can't keep their net asset value at least flat, at the very least. And that's I want my net asset value to grow while also receiving income. Okay. And this one just doesn't do it for me. So let's go look at a few others. Roundhill QDTE. This one's based on the NASDAQ. How's this one done? 1 year down 13.34%. How did the NASDAQ do in that same time period? Same time period, NASDAQ's up 27%. No thanks. I don't care what the yield is. None of that. Okay, what else are we looking at here? Hey, how come it didn't have my, let's go, oh, I'm on NASDAQ. Let's back up. Let's look at the next one. What do we got here? RDTE, another Roundhill fund. This is I believe this is the Russell 2000 small cap. What has that done in a year? Down 2.8%. How did the Russell 2000 do in that same time period? The same time period, the Russell 2000 is up almost 15%. So no thank you. Again, let's go back. Let's see if we can run into some that I might like. Yield Max. These things have high yields. What's that done in a year? Down 19%, and it's charging you 1.28% in expense ratio. Again, no thank you. These single ETF ones I don't really want to mess with. QQQI. Here's another NASDAQ 100. 0DTE ETF. Down 44% in 1 year. No thank you. And they're charging you 1% to do that for you. Let's see. FEPI. This is the Innovation FANG Income ETF, down 12% in a year. Again, no thank you. Let's see. SPIT. That's the one I own. How's that doing? I tried to get cute and steal some option premium, and that's how I ended up owning this. Down 2.5%. They're charging you almost 1% to lose your money. Next up, here, a couple of these. These are promising. These are promising. Goldman Sachs S&P 500 Core Premium Income ETF, GPIX. This is very similar to JEPI, I believe. I'm not really going into what they do, but in 1 year, up 11%. Ever since October of 2023, up 27%. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. What's it yield? 7.47%. Relatively fair expense ratio of 0.29. So not too bad. And what's the next one? Let's see. Where is the JEPQ equivalent? GPIQ. 1 year up 10%. Not too bad. Yields 9%. Reasonable expense ratio of 0.29. Let's see. Anything else in here? QQQI. NASDAQ. There's so many of them. A lot of you guys remember my channel was built on chasing these high yields. And it's not... it hasn't worked out for most. Not too bad. QQQI up 6%. Don't know what the yield is, but charging almost 0.75%. I'd choose the latter, the one before that. But let's see. SVOL, that's the volatility premium income ETF in 1 year. Down 6%. They're also charging you almost 1% expense ratio. They say the yield is 16%. So minus it's yielding about 10% net. Would I be interested? Nope. QQQY, did we go over that one? The Defiance one, I want to say we did. Yeah, down 44%. Where else are we at? FEPI. Oh, we did that one. Let's see if there's any others. There's one that I liked. I think it's SPY Eye. Let's take a look. SPY Eye. That's the NEOS S&P 500 high income ETF in 1 year, up 5.3%. Not bad. 0.68% expense ratio, yielding 12%. So yield of 12% plus your net asset value has grown 5%. So not too bad. Since inception, up 3.25%. A lot of these, the vast majority of these are still way too young. Here we go. JEPQ. This has been around at least almost 5 years, I think. So that's pretty good. 14% return. Yield of about 10%. Decent expense ratio of 0.35. I like it. The GPIQ, which is the Goldman Sachs version, hasn't been around that long. I like it's promising. GPIQ is a little bit more promising because its dividend income is more stable, but I'd like to give it a few more years to really figure out whether it's going to be a good one like JEPQ. Let's look at JEPI. JEPI, 1 year up 4.8, 5 years up 18%. Reasonable expense ratio, 7.3% yield. I think between 7 and 10% is probably the sweet spot of these income funds. Any of them, doing 12, 15, 18, 30, 100%, you're just deteriorating money. For instance, QILD, how'd that do? Hey, that's not too bad. That's 12.5%. But 5 years, you're down 22%. So that's a negative for me. What else? Something like Devo. That's a covered call income fund. Up 13%. Yield is low, 4.7%. So, it's okay. But over 5 years, 38% up, and you're getting a 5% yield. That's not too horrible. Okay. What else? QYLD we did. Let's look at the XYLD, which is the S&P 500 version of the Global X thing. 1 year up 6%, not too bad, but 5 years down 17%. So this is what I mean. You need to let these new funds get some legs and experience something like that happened in 2020 and see how they do. Okay. That's why I am not in a hurry to jump into these high yield income funds, because you don't know how they're going to react when a 2020 happens, right? When a 2008 happens, and it's going to happen. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I know there's going to be a lot of people disagreeing with my thought process, but I do not want to see my net asset value decreasing for the sake of income. That makes zero sense to me at all. So Leave me a comment down below. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye. I am not a financial advisor. The information contained in this video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. It is not intended to be investment advice. Please seek a licensed professional for any investment, tax, or legal advice. Thank you.